Hey guys, welcome back to Seller Sessions 4 p.m. BST on a Tuesday afternoon. And Nathan Hirsch is with me in the building, or in his building, and I'm in mine. And today we're going to be going over his, we're going to add it on to part of the series that we've been covering, which is life after exit. This is slightly different because what Nate was running was a service-based business, but he is formerly an Amazon seller as well, or maybe he still is. But we'll talk about investments, the lead up to the sale, how it worked, and obviously stuff that's under privacy or under contract. We won't discuss about those things, but just generally get the general feel of getting to that stage of exiting, the stress around it, and of course looking at that check or looking at your bank account when the check is cleared. Nate, well shared to the groups. Do you want to let people know what you've been up to this week?
Yeah, this week. So first of all, I just moved to Denver, Colorado from Florida. So I'm still buying stuff from the house for the house, couch shopping and stuff like that. I just bought bikes yesterday. It's pretty nice outside. With Outsource School, our new venture, we have this training on how to hire VAs to do sales calls. So that's been kind of fun to put it together. And we're also looking to invest in a few companies going to next year. So we've been getting a lot of applications, and we've been going through applications and hopping on calls with people. So that's pretty much what I've been working on.
Superb. Right, let's get into it. So let's take it back. When was it that FreeUp, you decided you're going to make that move into selling? It's a bit different because obviously we've got a lot of aggregators in the space at the moment. It's very hot to sell an Amazon business. There's a lot of companies sniffing around. Yours is different. It's a service-based business, so we need to treat it slightly different. But what got to that point when you go, do you know what? It's time to sell.
Yeah, so I don't think we went into the year thinking like, hey, we got to sell this thing by the end of the year. I think we built the business to be sellable in terms of having good people and systems and processes, and the business really ran without us outside of the marketing component, which can always be replaced. And I mean, we didn't really consider it until one of our clients reached out to us, the Hoth. They had been using FreeUp for a while, and Mark Hargrove, David Martin, great entrepreneurs. They've acquired a bunch of different businesses, and they essentially into the freelancer space. We don't want to start it from scratch. Would you guys be interested in being acquired? And that we kind of talked it over. We said we'd hear them out. They ended up asking us a lot of questions, coming back with us with an offer. And then we kind of reflected. I mean, we had grown FreeUp pretty organically, putting a lot of hustle, a lot of time and effort in from a $5,000 investment to 12 million. And we knew that structural changes were going to have to take place if we wanted to get to 30 million, 50 million. And on that, on top of that, this was before the pandemic. So everything was at an all-time high. So we kind of saw that as, hey, like, are we going to regret this if everything does crash, if things start going the other direction? And there were some other factors as well. Like had a team in the Philippines that we wanted to take care of and make sure that, hey, if we didn't sell it and business goes down or whatever, that they would have been hurt by it. So we kind of had those conversations. We went through due diligence, and that was about midway through last year. And it took about 6 months to actually close the deal.
Cool. So let's take it back. Obviously, a $5,000 investment. How long did it take you to get to your first million with it? And it's a service-based business, so the rules of engagement are different in terms of the economies of scale, right? So you stack products. It's a lot easier than stacking a team.
Yeah, so we did $1 million in the first year, 5 in the second, 9 in the third, and then the last year that we sold it ended around 12 million. Although we don't get credit for that last month that we weren't owning it.
Of course, but let's talk about those jumps. So year one, $1 million. How did you? Because it's a big jump for people. People say it's tough getting to $1 million. Once you get to $1 million, it's like, how do you get to 10 million? That's really tough. And then you get above that, and hence why you sold. So how did you make that jump from 1 million to 5 million? Because you're 5x'd basically in 12 months.
Yeah, so it was very interesting because we came from the Amazon space, and with Amazon, this was even before PPC campaigns when I started selling on Amazon. So you listed your product on Amazon, they brought the customers, you paid them the 15%, and that was marketing. And so when we started FreeUp, we didn't have any idea what marketing was. We started from scratch. We started to learn SEO and different tactics out there, and it was also a very tough business to run ads too, because you're not selling like even an info product that's $2,000. Hey, if someone clicks on your ad and they buy, you're going to make $2,000. With FreeUp, it's free to sign up. There's no monthly fees. You can stop at any time. You can hire someone part-time, full-time. It's very tough to measure ROI on ads. and we just had no experience with that. So that seemed like a very daunting task. So instead, we focused on this organic marketing blueprint, a lot of which we teach today through Outsource School, and we have VAs do it. And that was reaching out to influencers, getting on podcasts, doing content swap with partners. So reaching out to other people in the space like the Helium 10s in the world and doing cross promotions there, networking with other people in the space and creating an affiliate program where anyone that referred us would get 50 cents for every hour that we billed to them forever. So through those 5 things, going on a lot of podcasts, connecting with a lot of partners, networking with other people in the space, creating that affiliate program and making sure we reminded everyone about it, and all of that's really how we scaled the entire time that we were growing FreeUp.
Yeah, I mean, you hit 300 podcasts, I think.
Yeah, I think now it's like 400 or 500.
I haven't used that list, but I remember you hooked me up with a long list of podcasts. I was like, wow, where do you even start with that? But you had a team in house to take it. All of these things were built around the VAs working for you. It was their job to do that kind of podcast valet. I get lots of these companies every week messaging me with a one sheet. Someone's got a book you've never heard of promoting, wants to get in front of Amazon sellers, etc. So I get a lot of those, but I take it you done all that stuff in-house, like everything, like you said, organic. But
yeah, I mean, we used our own team of VAs. And I think the important thing to remember is we didn't just blast like every podcast in the world. When we started FreeUp, we were very specific. We wanted to go after Amazon sellers. So we made a list of every Amazon influencer. You were on that list, every Amazon podcast, every Amazon software company. And we just slowly chipped away until we were partnered or got rejected by pretty much everyone in the space. And only then did we move on to the marketing space.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. Because as I said, I get some really random ones. Like I've never heard of them before. And it might be someone who has an SEO agency. And it's just totally random. There's no relation to it. They've obviously not listened to the podcast now, but it makes sense with you dialing in. So what else did you do to take that 5x in a year? What was the body count there in terms of shifting from what got you to 1 million, then what got you to 5 million in terms of staff and stuff?
So you have to remember when you say staff, like we had our internal team at FreeUp, which in year 1 was like a few VAs. By year 5, it was 35 VAs. And then we had thousands of freelancers on the platform offering service, VAs up to agencies. And the other thing to keep in mind is when you're a marketplace, you really have to balance both sides, because if you have too many clients, but not enough freelancers or vice versa, it causes a lot of chaos. So one of the biggest keys we did, and I encourage everyone to do this, is we not only had an affiliate program, but we made sure it was a good affiliate program, but we told every single person about it. It was right front and center on our website. We told every partner and affiliate. Every time someone would hop on a sales call with me or someone on my team, at the end of every single call, we would say, oh, by the way, we have this great affiliate program. You get 50 cents for every hour we bill to someone forever that you refer. So people go back to their communities, their Facebook groups, their conferences, whatever it is. And whenever someone says, hey, I need to hire someone, which Amazon sellers say a lot, someone would say, oh, check out FreeUp, give them my name, because they wanted that affiliate money. So we had people in conferences in China, and I've never been to China, coming to us and signing up for FreeUp because they talked to someone. And that was on both sides of the marketplace, on the freelancer side too. So at one point, we were just getting 20 to 50 new clients signing up a day just from affiliates. And on the flip side, freelancers getting thousands of applicants every week from freelancers and VAs just telling other people about it.
Yeah. Yes. So part of that, where was I going to go with that? Let me think where I was going to go with that. Yeah. So part of it, what you're doing there is that a chunk of your growth was like network effects from the affiliate program. Yeah. I remember actually, because you weren't a marketplace at first, were you? You were a VA company, and it changed to a marketplace. And I won't name who launched their marketplace, but you won.
Yeah. So I actually was in the Philippines when that marketplace launched it, and we were a little bit scared. Like we didn't know what to say. They're obviously a big player. Like Greg's an awesome guy. Like nothing bad you can say about him.
You won. I don't hear of it anymore. And I think that land grab, because I think there was a land grab there, and it's respect to both parties. And I remember speaking to you, and you know, if you don't mind me saying, you were a bit nervous, but you managed to win through, and with elbow grease, because it's like you against the bigger the machine. But it's nice to see
Yeah, and we really didn't change our strategy. I mean, our biggest thing was the freelancers have to be happy, because one of the biggest issues about Upwork and Fiverr is the second you like a freelancer, they just take you off the platform, which the platform stops making money. And that doesn't really matter if you're a publicly traded company like Upwork and Fiverr on a big level. But when you're a small person like FreeUp, there's always a certain percentage of people that are going to take the VAs and freelancers off the marketplace. And the way you minimize that is by making the freelancers and VAs love FreeUp so much that they don't even want to think about it, because the VA and freelancer won't leave. That kind of solves the other problem. Plus building good relationships with clients who don't want to screw you over either. So we definitely were nervous when that came out. And I think we also saw, this goes back to why we sold. Like when we started FreeUp, there were very few just Amazon agencies, marketplaces, service providers. Like this was 2016. So there really just weren't that many. Fast forward to today, there's thousands of them, tens of thousands, 100,000. I have no idea. So the whole space just got a lot more competitive over the past 4 years.
I think, well, you were the first to market, and the barriers to entry are quite low, aren't they? Because you just go get one VA, then get another VA, then get another VA, sell another service, get another VA. So that's kind of quite easy as the model to do, but not to implement at high level quality. So I think you set the tone. You got off the wheels off the ground first. So you've done the land grab, and it's good now that you've exited, because now you've taken some legacy money off the table. But you're right, there's a lot of people in the space, and I think anyone can get into it. It's not like there's I could start one tomorrow and say, I want to get loads of VAs and hire them out to people. It don't make me good. It just means that my route to market is very easy to come by. But making those kind of businesses successful is tough, because like you said to me, and where I've hired off the marketplace as well, is that when you want only someone for 3 hours a week on something, let's just say I do a project and I go, can you hire me this, and this? I need 5 hours here, 5 hours here, 5 hours here, and it's tests. You can provide that, but that's not always easy to provide. So how were you able to do that?
So you mentioned, like, we started off as an agency just because it's impossible to just launch and be like, oh, we're a marketplace, and you need to build software behind it too. But scaling an agency is very hard if you're managing all the people. That just becomes an agency. Yeah. Exactly. You know. So we did not want to manage the people. So we quickly wanted to make it someplace where, hey, we'll vet people. We'll give you the VA, the freelancer, the agency off our platform, but you're working with them directly. They're not reporting to us. We're not checking in with them. We'll help you if there's any issues and provide great customer support. But the benefit of that is you get pure flexibility. You can hire someone for one project or 1 hour a month or 5 hours a week. Because if I don't have to manage them, then I don't have to necessarily hire them full time. We're just one marketplace that they're on. They can also have accounts on Upwork and Fiverr and all that. And it took us kind of a good 6 months to build the software around it, where people could submit a request. We could fill the request on the back end. The billing would be through the platform, and a much more marketplace feel. So I think that the overall goal was to create a marketplace, but it took us a good 6 months to transition to that.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. Let's get back to the sales cycle. So how did it start from you? How did the guys reach out? I know you said that you didn't look at the beginning of the year, hey, I'm going to start thinking about selling the business. It kind of organically happened. Do you want to walk us through it?
Yeah, I mean, Mark Skyped me, and then we set up a phone call. I was actually at a conference, so I was on one side, Connor was on the other call, and they just asked us a lot of questions about the business. And from there, they ended up coming back to us a week later with an offer. We ended up going back and forth on that a little bit before we came up with a number that we were both happy with, and the actual structure of the deal. But I mean, that was kind of just the beginning. Like, then the due diligence began, and I mean, we were doing as much due diligence on them as they were doing on us. Like, they were firing over 50 to 100 questions, and we were responding back with 25, 50 questions, because we didn't want to sell it to someone who's going to drive into the ground or hurt our reputation or treat our people poorly or hurt the freelancers on the platform. And so we wanted to know, like, what was their net worth? How many companies did they own? What was their track record? What are their plans with FreeUp? Stuff like that. And we were really impressed, to be honest. I mean, they bought the Hoth, which is their SEO company, for $100,000, and now it does over $25 million a year. So that's some pretty impressive growth. And they wanted to know everything about us, and that's where SOPs, standard operating procedures, came into play. I mean, they said, hey, how does billing work? And we turned over a document that was already made, ready to go, that said, hey, this is who does what when and in every single situation. And they actually told us afterwards that we were the fastest people to get back to them on due diligence questions, because they would send us a list of 25 questions in the morning. We would already have all the answers, all the numbers, like all our books were very intact. We would have it back to them in a few hours by the afternoon. And that kind of sped up the process to a point until the lawyers got involved, which wasn't their fault or our fault. It's just our lawyers trying to protect us and vice versa. And that was a whole nother process that just drove out a few months, just going back and forth over every little detail.
Yeah. Was there any big stumbling blocks I understand that you've got privacy here and there's confidentiality and stuff, but outside of that, what are some of the stumbling blocks, would you say, were getting the deal done?
Yeah, I'm trying to think of stumbling blocks. So part of it that wasn't an issue for us, but was a big issue for them, and I totally get their side, is we built the FreeUp marketplace software, right? We have a developer, Russell, who is part owner of the company. He built it. But whenever you're acquiring a software, you want to make sure that the software you're acquiring, like the person you're buying from, actually has rights to that software, and that we didn't just take that software and copy it from someone else or steal someone else's code. So there was a good chunk of time where in our mind, like, we built this software, like there's no issues here, but they wanted to add like every little thing in there to make sure that they were protected, that they could have different ways to back out if it ever came up, if someone jumped up and said, hey, I actually built the software and Nate doesn't have the rights for it. So in the end, it didn't end up being a big deal, but that was actually a part of the legal process that we spent the most time on, which in our mind was the least of the issues.
Yeah. All right, let's talk about the dialing in then. So last 72 hours, walk us through the getting ready to sign over on the exit.
Yeah, so I'm in Denver, or sorry, I was in Florida at the time. My business partner was in Denver. So he flew from Denver to Florida, stayed at my place. The Hoth, the company that bought us, is located in Tampa. So they happened to be an hour and a half from us. So we actually drove to their office in Tampa. They treated us well. We had breakfast. And then we signed the documents. So they laid out the documents and we signed them. They ended up wiring us the deposit for the money. There was a certain payment schedule for like that first few months, which I won't really get into. And that was kind of it. And then we went out and celebrated. The thing that I'll kind of add there is, it was a bittersweet moment, because the second that we signed the documents, we had to inform our team, a team that we liked a lot. I had people there who I was the godfather, I am the godfather of their kid. We worked with them for 8+ years, and we had to let them know, hey, we've sold this company. We're going to start the transition. We're no longer your bosses. So it wasn't until after we informed everyone and kind of assured them their jobs were secure, and we actually took $500,000 from the deal and gave it to our internal team in the Philippines. So we informed them about their money and the payments and all that. Once everyone was informed and we calmed them down a little bit, only then could we really celebrate.
Yeah. And so what was the reaction like once you'd sold? Obviously, you're getting parachute payments by the sound of things. We won't get into that. What's the feeling like once you've landed your exit money? What was running through your mind when you logged in on your online bank account?
Yeah, I'm fortunate enough that I had some success on Amazon before. So I don't say that I was just like, oh, money for the first time. But yeah, it was very relaxing. It was kind of like, hey, we started this. We put a lot of hustle into it, especially the first 2 years of FreeUp. Like, I was working 10, 12, 14-hour days getting this thing up and running. So I think it was just an opportunity to kind of reflect of, hey, we built this, we sold this. And also you have to remember, like, for 4 years, every creative ounce of energy that I had went into FreeUp. And it was kind of refreshing to like take a step back and be like, okay, let's go read books about real estate. Let's go adventure into something else and see what else I want to get into. So I think there was a sense of, hey, we accomplished something, but now we're excited to do something different.
So that's the next part. So you've had your exit, because a lot of people we speak to on Life After Exit, I think this is the 7th one that we've done. Nearly no one celebrated. Nearly no one went out and bought a Porsche or anything like that. They were very sensible. The biggest standout I took from a lot of these sessions is that concern of when you've had regular income and you sell an Amazon business and it's a lump sum, and then you haven't got them monthlies coming in. That's when you're kind of semi-panicked, because it's like, okay, I've got this money here. I don't want to touch it. I've got to put this money to work. But equally, I don't have a steady wage coming in. That's gone. It disappears. It's like you've got to go through that new step of creation again.
Yeah, so I live a pretty like debt-free, just lean lifestyle, very similar to how I run a business. So I would say I was less concerned about money coming in, but I was excited to figure out what I want to do next and all that. And I mean, the biggest thing that I actually bought 8 months later was this house, but I kind of turned that into a business. Like I kept my old place, rented out the old place, and that kind of pays the bills at this place. So that kind of worked out. But yeah, I mean, the first conversation after the sale was between my business partner and I, like, hey, are we sick of each other? Do we still want to work together? Was that 4 years just too much for us? And I'm fortunate that he still wanted to work with me and vice versa. And then it became, okay, like, let's just do a lot of research. Like I probably read more books in 2020 than I've read in like the past 5 years combined or 3 years combined. We read everything about angel investing to real estate, to learning more about startups and marketing. And then people started reaching out to us about teaching them our hiring process. And that's really when we came up with the idea of Outsource School. And we've kind of treated this as a multi-pronged approach. We've got Outsource School. We have a software we're running, Simply SOP. I've been investing in the stock market since I was 20 when I bought my first Amazon stock that I wish I bought more of. So steadily investing there, plus real estate. Plus now we want to look to investing in companies. So we're kind of taking that opportunity and hopefully turning into something bigger across a lot of different spectrums rather than just having everything in FreeUp.
So then let's talk about what investments, if you don't mind me asking, what do you have? Like you said, you started in the stock market that when you was 20, did you say?
Yeah, the 18, 20 in college. I mean, stock market's something even before I sold the company, like I just been investing in consistently. I think it's one of the best ways to build wealth. And I mean, every time that I think about like buying a new car or something, it's always like, no, let's put the money in the stock market. That's kind of how I run business. But yeah, I mean, picking different stocks over the years that have fortunately turned out well so far and continuing to add to it. I mean, it's not like we took or I can only speak for myself. It's not like I took all the FreeUp money and just put it right in the stock market right then. But over time, you slowly invest that money.
So what are your investments? So you've got some money in the stock market. You've got the new Outsource School at the moment. Do you still have an Amazon business of any kind?
I do not have an Amazon business. And the Outsource School, again, we started it with $5,000. For whatever reason, I start all my companies with $5,000.
Yeah, that makes sense. And what other investments? So you got a portfolio, or is it a couple of properties? I mean, it makes sense what you're doing. Moved out the last house. The last house becomes an asset rather than a liability. The house you live in is a liability, but you're using your asset to pay your liability.
Yeah, I'm investing in some REITs, so some real estate that I don't have to really deal with or worry about. That people that I trust handle it, and we get a return on the investment. That plus the stock market, plus Outsource School, and Simply SOP, plus looking to invest in businesses. We actually just invested in one of our VA's business that I won't get into. His side business that's doing pretty well, and we're looking to acquire one company a quarter going forward, minority ownership. So if anyone's listening is interested in working with us, can reach out to us. So I would say the investing in business side is new, although we're really excited about it. My portfolio right now is a combination of stock and real estate.
Okay, and the kind of investments that you look at, you mainly looking to invest in the entrepreneur. Obviously, the business counts, but where do you look? You know, you can look at a stock and pick a stock, but when it comes to businesses, is your focus in and around the entrepreneur?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think I'm going to just go and invest in a business that I know nothing about. We're going to stay in our lane, and that lane is the marketplaces, the agencies of the world, the e-commerce stores, software companies, something along those lines. I don't think that I'm trying to be the next Shark Tank and find like that startup idea that hasn't launched yet. Although I know they invest in other companies too. But I mean, we're looking for companies that are already profitable, that we can kind of come in and bring our expertise, our resources, our skill set, and come in and scale that business to the next level.
Cool. Before we go then, what's your plans over the next 18 months? What do you want to achieve?
Yeah, I mentioned investing in one company a quarter. I have some other real estate stuff I want to do, and really focused on Outsource School and Simply SOP. I mean, we've used Outsource School to get Simply SOP off the ground, just like the FreeUp marketplace and needed time to develop the software. Now we have this software in a really good spot where people are using it. I think it's the best tool on the market for creating and sharing standard operating procedures, processes with remote teams. So we'll be marketing that. We just hired a few agencies to promote Outsource School. So we're going to be toning back on the organic marketing play, less podcasts, less webinars, less things that involve my time, and hopefully create that so it runs without us with paid ads. Launch Simply SOP, invest in scale and help grow companies outside of my personal investments. Those are the goals.
Sounds good. What's the best way that people can reach you if they want to get in contact with you?
Yeah, any social media channel, Nathan Hirsch. If you want to shoot me an email, nathan@outsourceschool.com. If you're interested in chatting about working together, I can send you an application for companies that we're investing in. And I'm always happy to just connect. Even if I can just help you guys in any way, just let me know.
Great. Thanks, guys, for joining us today. Thank you, Nate. I'll be back here 4 p.m. BST tomorrow. The Flash of Amazon is a guest I'm bringing on tomorrow. It's going to be a very interesting podcast with this young lad. But, Nate, thank you for your time today. Take care of your families and take care of yourself. I'll be back here 4 p.m. BST tomorrow. See you soon.
Yeah, and congrats on your 600th episode.
Thank you.